Hello everyone, welcome to Barca News. It's July 14th, 2023, and Barcelona have secured two more signings. Also, it looks like Abde could be changing his mind and deciding to stay in Barcelona in order to prove himself to Xavi Hernandez. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Mo, and before we begin with the news, just a quick announcement that this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, I will be out of town. But don't worry, as always, when I travel, I will be making live stream videos on both days to bring you the most up-to-date news in regards to FC Barcelona. And this time around, I will be taking my camera with me, so I won't be doing the live streams from my cell phone. I really didn't like the quality of the videos last time I did it. So I will be using my camera. It will be a short live stream, so I won't be discussing the chat section or responding to anyone's questions because I want to keep it brief. So again, I will be out of town, but I will be bringing you live streams on Saturday and Sunday to keep you up to date on our club's news. Now, as always, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and if you are looking for any Barcelona gear, make sure to hit the kickback. The link is down below in the description. Now, I'll begin with the bad news that UEFA announced today that they will be fining Barcelona 500,000 euros for violations of the financial fair play rules. Now, the reason UEFA decided to fine Barcelona is because the club during the year 2022 wrongly reported income from intangible assets, which under the regulation is considered as not relevant income. So what this means is that when Barcelona sold some intangible assets, so not players, this has nothing to do with the transfer of players, they reported that income on their financial papers that they submitted to UEFA, but they wrongly reported it under the wrong category, and for that UEFA have decided to fine Barcelona 500,000 euros. Now, Barcelona, of course, not happy about this decision, and they have announced that they're planning to appeal this decision because they consider that the fine is too excessive, because this was not Barcelona trying to hide money or confuse anyone. This was simply a clerical error where the money was reported, but it was put under the wrong category, or it was put in the wrong box on the form that Barcelona submitted to UEFA. Now, away from bad news and on to great news, and it seems that Barcelona have secured two more signings during this summer transfer market, starting with the signing of Oriol Romeu. Now, as we've been talking about for quite some time, Barcelona have decided that Oriol Romeu will be the replacement for Sergio Busquets in the pivot position. And of course, Oriol Romeu is someone who came up through the Barcelona Academy, has played both in La Liga and in the Premier League, and he's currently playing for Girona. Now, Barcelona, as soon as they reached out to Oriol Romeu, he agreed to come to the club regardless of what the offer was. He didn't care about what his salary would be or what kind of offers Barcelona would make him, because he wanted to come to Barcelona because he considers this club his home, because at the end of the day, he did spend here many years in La Masia, and it's reported that Oriol Romeu has been key and Barcelona succeeding to sign him. Now, a reason to say he was key is because, as I've reported before, Girona were making things very difficult, where they were refusing to negotiate with Barcelona because they felt like the club were disrespecting them by trying to take away one of their most important players. And as a result, Girona were saying that Barcelona needed to pay the entire release clause, or they weren't going to be able to take Oriol Romeu. Now, it seems that Barcelona have reached an agreement with Girona to pay 5 million euros for Oriol Romeu, and maybe some variables will be included. That part is still not finalized. They're still negotiating those final details. And Barcelona will include a player, which is Pablo Torre. Now, as reported in yesterday's video, I said Pablo Torre could be the key to unlocking the signing of Oriol Romeu, because Girona had entered the race for Pablo Torre and they wanted to take him on loan, and it seems that's exactly what happened. And Pablo Torre was able to sweeten and kind of relax the whole tension between both clubs, and Barcelona have agreed to loan Pablo Torre to Girona, and in exchange they will sign Oriol Romeu for 5 million euros. Now, this is important to emphasize that Pablo Torre joining Girona is not a permanent transfer. This is just a loan. This is part of Barcelona's plan to send Pablo Torre to another team so he can get exposure and more playing time in the first division. That way he can continue growing and developing. And I really think that this was a good deal because Girona has a very similar style of play to Barcelona. They also have a great coach in Mitchell. And I think that Pablo Torre could definitely succeed in Girona. And hopefully he'll come back next season much better and stronger and ready to earn his spot on Barcelona's first team. So it seems that Xavi has finally gotten his pivot and Oriol Romeu will be joining Barcelona. So this is of course good news because Barcelona have met all their objectives so far as signings, where they have signed Íñigo Martínez to reinforce the defense. They got Gundogan to enforce the midfield and get kind of that creative player that they were looking for. They have Oriol Romeu now in the pivot position. And finally, they have signed Vitor Roque to reinforce the attacking line. So that means that Barcelona have met all of their objectives for this summer. So of course, now they can focus on trying to sign someone for the right back, which wasn't an objective for this summer. But nonetheless, Barcelona have plenty of time in the market left in order to see if they'll be able to sign someone during this summer. Now, speaking of the right back position, it's reported that Barcelona have completed the deal to sign Álvaro Pérez Campo, or as he's known by his nickname, Trilli. Now, I talked about this in a previous video and I said that Barcelona were considering paying the release clause of Trilli, which is worth 200,000 euros. And Trilli, for those of you who don't know, is a 20-year-old right back who currently plays for Deportivo La Coruña in the second division. And he's considered one of the most up-and-coming and exciting right backs to come out of the second division. And Barcelona were considering paying the release clause. And Real Sociedad were also in the race. But as I said in a previous video, it seemed most likely that the player would agree to join Barcelona over Real Sociedad. Well, it's now being reported that Barcelona have finalized this deal and that Trilli will be joining the club. And again, this will be a signing for Barça Athletic, not for the first team. But nonetheless, Trilli will be in a first team dynamic, meaning that he will train with the first team and maybe get called up to the first team as well, because Barcelona are hoping to groom this player so he can maybe earn his spot on the first team and become the future right back of Barcelona. Now, it seemed that Deportivo La Coruña really wanted to keep Trilli on their team. However, they couldn't match any of the offers that Trilli had on the table from other clubs. And since Deportivo La Coruña are going through a very difficult financial situation, Barcelona decided to pay the entire release clause instead of negotiating with the club. Because after all, 200,000 euros is not a lot of money for Barcelona, but for someone like Deportivo La Coruña who are going really bad financial situation, then why not help out a sister club, especially a club as historical as Deportivo La Coruña. Now, speaking of exciting young talent, it's reported that Abde's entourage are becoming more convinced to keep the player in Barcelona during the summer so he can earn his spot on Barcelona's first team. Now, as I reported previously, Xavi has been adamant on taking Abde on the preseason tour in order to test out the player and see if he can earn his spot on the first team. However, Abde's entourage were having doubts about this because they wanted the player to go to another team where he'd be guaranteed a starting spot. But it seems since Xavi has been so insistent on having Abde in the preseason, and since it has been revealed that Xavi would prefer Abde to stay in the team over Ferran Torres, it seems that Abde's entourage are now more convinced or more agreeable for Abde to play in a preseason, because they're now thinking, well, what if Abde can convince Xavi, then he will be able to stay in Barcelona. Now, it seems that Abde is ready to prove himself to Xavi, and in fact, he has cut his vacation by half, because he was supposed to have 2 weeks off since he played in the Under-23 African Cup, and he has cut that vacation to 1 week only, and he will be reporting to the preseason training next Monday. This is, of course, great news because this is the kind of attitude that we want in players. We don't want players who want guaranteed spots or guaranteed minutes. We want players who want to come here, work hard, train hard, and show everybody why they deserve to be a Barcelona player. Now, speaking of Xavi Hernandez, it's reported that Barcelona have asked the coach to do more and put more pressure on the players that the club want to offload to make it very clear that Barcelona need to offload him during this summer transfer market. Now, Xavi Hernandez did speak with many of the players that Barcelona want to offload during the summer at the beginning of the summer to make it clear that he didn't count on them next season. And after that, it all moved to the hands of Matteo Alemany in order to further convince them even more and try to find new clubs for all the players that Barcelona want to offload. But now Barcelona have asked Xavi Hernandez to do more and to talk to the players more and try to convince them in order so they can leave the club, because again, Barcelona need to offload players to register the new incoming ones and to meet the goals of the viability plan. Now, I think this will be very important step in order for Barcelona to offload the players that they're planning to offload, because we've seen how convincing Xavi Hernandez has been with convincing players to sign for the club. So hopefully he can use his magic and convince those players that need to be offloaded to leave Barcelona. Now, one of the players that Xavi Hernandez could end up convincing is Ferran Torres, because as of now, they're saying that Torres has doubts about leaving the club. So maybe another conversation with Xavi Hernandez could finally convince the player to leave Barcelona, because the club do not count on him and they need to clear space on a wage bill. Now, speaking of players leaving the club, it's reported that Julian Araujo is only a few steps away from joining Las Palmas on loan. Barcelona signed the Mexican right back from the MLS team LA Galaxy during the winter transfer market, but they were unable to register his contract, and as a result, Julian Araujo spent the second half season training with Barca Athletic without being able to play any official matches. Now, even though there was some talk that Xavi Hernandez could try out Julian Araujo during the preseason to see if he could become the right back of the first team, it seems that Xavi Hernandez has seen enough, has decided that Julian Araujo is still not ready. So the club have decided to send the Mexican player on loan. That way he can play in the first division of La Liga, get exposure to European football, and see whether Julian Araujo could become Barcelona's right back. Now, it seems that Las Palmas, who just got promoted to the first division under the management of Garcia Pimienta, who was the former coach of Barca Athletic for 20 years, have requested the loan of Julian Araujo. So it seems that Julian Araujo will be joining Las Palmas on loan, and this could be announced as soon as tomorrow, because it's reported that the negotiations are very advanced. So that is it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give me a like. Also, I would like to invite all of you to please leave a comment down below, giving me all your thoughts and opinions about all the news that I share with you. And finally, I would like to invite all of you to please subscribe to the channel so you can stay current on all the latest news in regards to our beloved club, FC Barcelona. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video. And as always, Visca Barça.